Yeah, MLB Data Warehouse. Where the spreadsheets glow and the takes get spicy. John, Tim, Doc, let's go. Welcome to the warehouse. Stat stack to the ceilings. Exit below's flying. Launch angles got a feeling. Tim in the corner with the prospect report. Reading fan graphs, blurbs like it's soft court sport. Junior and double A, Tim's losing.
Oh, Jon and John are back. Missed last week. I haven't done a podcast in quite a bit, but John handled it for us last week, written wise. How'd that go? How you doing?
Went okay, although I'm sure you'll see in the report that I had my misses on top of my hits there, so nothing new there.
Yeah, it's tough. Like by mid-May, late May, like it seems like, especially on the pitching side, like the guys are kind of discovered it gets really hard. So hopefully everybody out there doesn't have any problems on the pitching staff, which is
lots of injuries. Yeah.
Hitters
here this time.
And then the rookie hitters, I guess, have generally been doing well, but the guys that get called up, the guys that made the team out of camp, I guess you could say were just better from the beginning. And the guys that get the midseason call up are often like they weren't really planned that way. Somebody got hurt or something like that, but it gets tough, but we're doing our best. Daily Notes is still probably, I don't know. The Daily Notes is every day, and I try to pick out a few guys every day to look at that have been low owned or have been doing well that are low owned or whatever. So I try to comment on that stuff to just like give daily content for the stuff so you can manage your teams throughout the week and get advice there. But this is the once a week thing. Article over the weekend we'll do. So waiver wire picks for whatever week. What are we calling this? Week 8. Week 8. So we're coming up on a third. There's like 25 weeks or something like that ish in the fantasy season. So
we're getting there.
Almost a third. So let's start with shallow league pitcher targets. I threw in here Ryan Nelson. Probably in competitive leagues he wouldn't be available, but I definitely saw him get dropped after that miserable start to the year. Were you in any leagues where he got dropped?
He was definitely available in pretty much any league 12 and under. So
yeah,
and in a couple 16s that I'm in.
Yeah, he had like this on April 19th. Ryan Nelson gave up 8 runs and got 1 out. And then he came out next time, gave up 6 runs against the Padres on April 26th. But in May, he's gone 5.2, 1 run, 6.2, 1 run, 7 innings, 3 runs with 19 strikeouts in those 3 starts. Also, it helps to know that the 4-seam fastball usage has come down to the mid 50s. So from almost 70%. Which I just like that by itself, if you just like someone starts throwing the fastball less, like who cares, whatever. But with him, it's like that's obviously what he had to do. And as soon as he started doing that, his fastball usage on the season now is 59%. But like as soon as he dropped it a little bit, started throwing cutters, curveballs, he didn't introduce a new pitch or anything like that, just kind of elevated everything else. And I don't know if it's directly correlated or whatever, but drops the usage a little bit, becomes a little bit less predictable, and has 3 good starts. And this isn't like a new thing. Ryan Nelson was pretty good last year too, so kind of back to normal there. You, John, I don't know if you consciously didn't put Ben Brown on this or if you're trying to like start a fight with me, but Ben Brown, I stuck him on here. But
well, and you can definitely put him on there. I just don't know what he is. Is he a long reliever, closer? Is he a starter? The Cubs, you would think that they would understand that abusing young arms like this and having them pitch 2 innings and then having them pitch 4 innings and then having them pitch a third of an inning is not going to be helpful, but they don't seem to have figured that out yet. So I have concerns about Ben, and he does have a limited repertoire, which is another reason why I'm a little concerned.
But it's different this year. On the screen, if you're watching, are his pitch counts by year. So this or by start. So first of all, this makes me think he was kind of like long relief at the beginning. It was pitch counts around 50. And then they lost all those bullpen guys, and it looked like, okay, we got to use him in the 8th or 9th. So pitch counts came down to like 1 inning at a time. And then they lose Matt Boyd. And was that all they lost? I don't know. He was the big one lately.
Well, they lost Kate Horton earlier in the season.
Horton, Steele's still out, and Steele's having extra problems. Might not see him again. So with the Boyd thing, they're like, okay, we got to, like Brown was a starter last year. He was throwing 50 pitches early on. That was a max, but Now he's in the rotation, and it was 25 pitches, 46 pitches, 65 pitches for Ben Brown. So if that's a progression upward, like if he was just going to be 2 or 3 innings, why? I don't know. He pitched really well last night. Like he cleared through the first couple innings. So maybe the plan was to just go, but then they let him out. Anyway, he went 4 innings last night, struck out 7 Braves, gave up 1 hit. It was awesome. But the progression here would make you think next stop, 75 pitches, 5 innings, something like that. But we don't know. We don't know for sure. I don't think they've said anything. And then Boyd will come back before too long. I don't know, but Steele's not close. And I don't know. Ben Brown looks very good. And to the point about the pitch mix, like last year, I've been writing this in the daily notes a lot. I've like several paragraphs on him this morning, mostly making jokes. But last year he was pretty much 4-seam curveball, and the curveball wasn't a strike. And if he was down 2-0, like you knew a 4-seamer was coming, and it's not very good. But this year he's throwing a sinker 21.5% of the time. Got a change up to throw in there against lefties. So I think that makes a big difference. They can't just sit on his 4-seamer. And so far, it's looked very good for Ben Brown. So again, like if it's a 10-team league where you want quality starts, probably don't need to do that. But the upside seems to be pretty nice there. And I just want to make that point that the sinker for him could be a real big difference maker because the curveball is so good. He just needs to have people not be able to sit on the 4-seamer. So that's Ben Brown. Tyler Mahle, we'll see him tonight against the Athletics. So that's tough in Sacramento. But you've seen
not a good matchup. But yeah, he's a guy that obviously he seems like he's always injured. Last year it was crazy with the 2.18 ERA. This season it's crazy in the opposite end with the 5.18 ERA. And over the last 20 days, as I put in here, he's got an xERA that points to him being a little better as we go along. Again, I think he's a guy that I feel much more excited about starting when he's in San Francisco in that ballpark as opposed to in Sacramento, as he will be tonight, because he can get lit up. But as he showed against the Pirates, he gave a couple home runs, but he hadn't given up a home run in the 5 previous games. So it's a little weird that the Pirates got him, but they did. So we'll see what's happening with Tyler.
He's got 8 homers given up, if this is right, and 4 of them were in one game to Cincinnati. I think that must have been at Cincinnati. But to your point, the last 4 starts, his expected WOBAs allowed are all at 300 or less. The average is like 320. So that's where xERA comes from. It's pretty much the same stat. So, and 6, 5, 3, 5, 8 strikeouts in his last however many starts that was. So he's doing a little bit of that. I didn't notice this, but that's a good point. He's definitely he's being a lot more Mahle-like, and this guy's a splitter pitcher. So you don't always he doesn't have a great fastball. You don't always get a ton of strikeouts from these kind of guys, but he's been a guy that can keep the walks in control and generate a lot of soft contact with the splitter. So that makes some sense. 2 injured guys coming back. Jared Jones, in a sharp league, he's probably been stashed, but some leagues don't have IL. So I don't know, but he's coming back. His last rehab was 3 days ago through 4 innings in Double-A. I think one more. The Pirates don't really need to rush him unless Bubba Chandler, Mlodzinski, they're doing this thing with with an opener and then him for 5-6 innings, and it's worked pretty well for them. And Mlodzinski's held his own. Bubba Chandler probably not. They probably want to give him a little bit more time, but he's been really bad. Looked a little bit better last time. But point being that they don't need Jared Jones right now, so they're just going to stick to whatever plan they had. Probably get him 2 more rehab starts, but in the next couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, Jared Jones should be back for the Pirates. Not a guarantee that he's any good, but his velo is there. He only has 1 walk through 3 rehab outings. So that's a good sign, I guess, that the command is still somewhat there after the elbow surgery. So high upside arm there. Grayson Rodriguez as well. This was your pick. Nobody likes Grayson Rodriguez, but I think it's right to have him on here. He struck out 11 in his rehab start 5 days ago.
Yeah, he did strike out 11, but again, it wasn't single A. So I think this will be a very interesting. I think he's actually going to start this weekend for the Angels. So we'll see. Anybody that knows anything about Grayson Rodriguez knows his long history of being a top prospect and his long history of being injured. So I don't love the combination of injury history and playing for the Angels. That doesn't exactly speak to me, but they are having a better year this year with pitchers on the Angels. Mike Maddox seems to have made a big difference as pitching coach. We'll see. As I put here, the ultimate lottery ticket. I have no idea what you're going to get, but it could be something fun.
Yeah, and he'll get welcomed back to a matchup with the Dodgers this weekend. But then he gets to face the Rangers. So I don't know. It looks like the start was against Ontario. I think that's a new team. I think that's like the Dodgers' the Ontario Buzz Towers or something like that.
Yes, the Buzz Towers.
So I know that because I had to every year I have to go like see what affiliates changed and stuff and add the affiliate mappings into my data and stuff. So that was one. I think I might still be missing some teams, but let me know if you see any of that. Like for a couple weeks there, I didn't have the Braves. Like the Braves AA team was in the dashboards and stuff, but they weren't mapped to the Braves. So when you looked at Braves AA, they wouldn't show up. But anything like that, if anybody out there listening notices, let me know. I can fix it all. So yeah, Grayson Rodriguez probably not a confident start this weekend, but if you're really hurting, like the guy's always been talented, and maybe don't spend any real money on him or anything like that.
No.
Yeah. Deep league pitchers, I threw on Trevor McDonald. It's just kind of like a baby Logan Webb. Maybe that probably sounds a little bit better. He doesn't have that kind of command, but sinker, ground balls, no home runs. Made 2 pretty decent starts. Padres and Dodgers. He actually looked. Let me pull that up. Trevor McDonald, first major league start, 7 innings against the Padres, 1 run, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. Then he goes up against the Dodgers, 5.1 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. So not great there, but survived the damage. And that's kind of what a sinker guy can do. Slider's really good too. I suppose he'll stay in there. I think he's, maybe I guess he did get sent down when after his first start, but then Webb gets hurt and he comes back up. So maybe Webb will replace him, but I threw him on there. I don't know. Any thoughts about Trevor McDonald?
Yeah, I think he'll be up there as long as Logan Webb is down, but I don't think Logan Webb is going to be expected to be down that long. So it could be a short stint for Trevor McDonald. He is an interesting sinker pitcher.
Yeah.
He did. I'm sure a lot of people had him on their sleeper list over in the offseason because they didn't pay attention to the fact he had a huge game against the Rockies at the end of last year. So road Rockies and striking out 9 or 10 over 5 innings looks really nice at the end of the day, but that's not a real thing.
Yeah, I guess that's the main point. So don't spend on McDonald because like Robbie Ray, Logan Webb are locked in. Landon Roop is looking like he's obviously going to stay. So it'll be like Tyler Mahle, but we kind of like what he's doing. We already talked about him. So it looks like a Roop, Ray, Webb, Mahle. What about Hauser though? I mean, couldn't McDonald stay for Hauser? Or no, that I already named. No, that's it. Roop?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So couldn't he take Hauser's spot?
He could. I would imagine, given that they've paid Hauser, they're going to hold on to him, and he feels like a real flip him at the deadline if you're kind of pitcher for anybody looking to kind of fill some innings. That's really what his role has generally been.
And McDonald has the option. Obviously, he can go back to AAA with no loss there, so that's probably what's going to happen. Connor Prelip, I think the Twins have had to use some different guys, and they should get Taj Bradley back pretty soon. We're going to talk about, let's just group these two, Zebby Matthews and Connor Prelip. So Prelip's been up for a couple weeks, pitching decently well. It's 17 or 18% K to walk if you round up. Looks okay, nothing fantastic, but holding his own. And then Zebby Matthews does a terrible job in the minor leagues. Then gets called up out of necessity and has a 7 strong innings last night. Looked really good. So 2 guys that are currently in the Twins rotation. I kind of agree. Maybe Zebby's the guy to pick if you have to take 2, but they could very well both be heading back down once Bradley returns and if Mick Abel ever gets back. But
yeah, Zebby got a long run last year, and his shaky control that he showed at the end of last year and in spring training put him back down to AAA, where you said he hasn't looked great. So to come up and shock the Marlins for a game, we'll see. It runs hot and cold with him, so be ready.
Yeah. Griffin Jacks, Rays reliever, transitioning to a starter. So he walked 4 or 5 last time with like 1 strikeout. It looked really bad. But we're not trying to judge dudes off of 1 or 2 starts if we have other options. I just wanted to say that Jacks has like 5 pitches. He's not like one of these late inning relievers that has a fastball and a slider and it won't ever work as a starter. Like he's always thrown 4 or 5 pitches. Obviously, he's not going to throw as hard. The stuff's not going to be as nasty. The ball's not going to move as much when he's trying to throw 75 pitches rather than going in there for 3 outs. And that's what we've seen so far. Hasn't looked great, but talented arm, good fastball, bunch of different pitches. I just think I've always thought it could work as a starter. Maybe it's not going to happen. They've kind of put him in a really tough position here to do this in the middle of the season. Don't know why they didn't do that over the winter. I guess they didn't expect Ryan Pepio to be out all year. Maybe that's the answer. But I just think he's got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Jax is one of those guys that when he was with the Twins, they tried him as a starter first, and then he ended up in the bullpen. And then they did this where they kind of brought him back for a little bit, and then they put him back in the bullpen. The Rays are going to try to maximize his value. However they can figure it out, that's how they're going to use him. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting role. I don't love him as a starter, and especially he's not going to get you any quality starts because he's never going to go that long. So
yeah, he's thrown. It's got 6 pitches to put a number on that. Sweeper, 4 seams, sinker, changeup, curve, cutter. Maybe he's got to pick 4 of those to go with. I don't know, but it's not the typical situation with a reliever that has 2 pitches and can't make it as a starter, but we'll see. And then the super, super deep leagues, like I shouldn't even be saying this. Roki Sasaki, I put him on the list here. Don't blame John Allen for this. I did it, but look, he's only walked 4 in his last 3 starts, and that's where you have to start, right? If he's ever gonna step in to be a decent starter, the walks had to stop, and in the last 4 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it is, like it's been better at that. So
Dave Roberts keeps saying he believes in him, so we'll see.
What else are you gonna say? He's still 24 years old or whatever, right? I think signed as a 22-year-old or something like that. So Roki Sasaki, we try to get guys that are available in every league. Like I want to give every person in every league a player that's actually available, so we're not just like talking to the shallow Yahoo League dudes. But okay, shallow league hitters. I threw on Sam Antonacci, another guy that is probably not available in competitive leagues. He was probably picked up right away, and I don't know, like he hasn't been all that great. He's got 1 homer and I think 1 steal, but 11% barrel rate, 288 average now, and he does have speed. Like the steals are going to come. He's always been a steal guy. 322 XBA now, 397 expected WOBA. I just think at second base he's a must-own, but again, probably already taken care of in most spots.
And he's also getting some time in the outfield. I wish the White Sox would stop picking up from the scrap heap like the Randall Grichuk's of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, just run your young guys out there and see what they can do already.
Yeah, I was just surprised Antonacci with a 11% barrel rate. EVs are not in the pits. They're not terrible, but they're not going to be high. He's not going to be like a 20 home run guy, but a little bit of power, bunch of speed if he can get on base. And he has gotten on base, 380 OBP. So we'll see where that goes. Luke Raley doesn't play against lefties, but is in the top 12 in the league in expected WOBA against righties. I wrote that this morning, and you've got him on the list. He just keeps pounding homers against righties.
Yeah. I have here 5 homers in his last 8 games. Yeah. He was one of the few Mariners who at the beginning of the season actually hit the ball while everybody else was going over. Went away for a little bit. Now he seems to be back. So I think it's probably more a matter of playing time. And when he gets consistent playing time, he usually plays pretty well. But I don't know if he'll ever get that since he is a platoon guy. And
a 55% contact rate, which is so bad. I mean, that's like 20 points below where you'd be comfortable with, but he's swinging intentionally for home runs and he's running into a bunch of them. 24% barrel rate this year. That's like an Aaron Judge level thing. So that's one way to beat a high strikeout rate is by barreling it a quarter of the time when you do hit it. Not going to keep up. The average will not be around 270 for very long, but the home runs will probably keep coming. Good guy to have in leagues where you can only start him the days, where you can bench him when the Mariners face a lefty. Ezekiel Duran, super utility guy. Rangers are searching for answers, and he's been one of the guys to try to contribute a little bit. He's been hitting okay, do some different things, play all over the field. Was that kind of your thought?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that you can plug in, obviously, at multiple positions. He might even be eligible at third base in some places. So he's a guy who in 2023, his second season in the major leagues, he looked like he was going to be something. Hit 14 home runs and 8 stolen bases over 122 games, but then kind of faded away. It seems to be back. His slash lines are all above what that 2023 season was, and he is walking at more than double his career best rate. So he's a guy that's, I don't need a lot of interest in, and I don't expect him to be a stud, but I do expect him to be a guy that I can plug in and fill in a hole and here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, that's Ezekiel Duran hitting 294 this year, slugging 480, 22% K rate, 10% walk rate, 6% barrel rate, 319 expected WOBA, 3 homers. So Nothing fantastic, but pretty good across the board. I mean, that batting average should be considered fantastic in today's day and age at 290. So the 250 expected is a lot lower. So some regression coming for Duran, but the position eligibility by itself helps a lot. Mark Vientos just crushing it in May. Slow start, kind of a bad season last year. But if we look at what he's done in May, I don't really love to do this, but the Mets need answers. And he's got 4 home runs in May, 851 OPS, 28% barrel rate, 389 expected batting average for Vientos. You know, talented young player. He's not as young anymore, but I mean, when he was coming up, he was a prospect we all liked and thought could be something at third base for the Mets. Hasn't really worked out, but he's hitting well now, adding some power and helping the Mets out. Good RBI opportunities. I think he's ended up in the 3rd, 4th, 5th hole of the lineup, so that's good, but probably won't last. Any particular thoughts on Vientos from you?
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens when Polanco gets back from his injury, because that's what playing time Vientos is soaking up at the moment. So,
yeah, Brett Beatty hasn't really done much to keep a job there. I mean, the Mets are just a total mess, but it'll be tough. Somebody's going to have to go out. But Vientos, short-term weekend ad or something like that, if the hot streak can continue. Spencer Horwitz, points leagues, OBP leagues, 286 average, 404 OBP, 468 over his last 100-ish plate appearances. More walks and strikeouts this year. Pirates have moved him up in the order a little bit sometimes against righties. Before, for all of my life's history, if the Pirates had a guy with a 404 on base percentage over 100 plate appearances, he would be like hitting second, like immediately. They'd be like, get up there, we need you. But it's not like that anymore. The top of the lineup's pretty set. So Horwitz 6th, 7th, but he's quite good at getting on base. You know, no real steals and not a ton of homers. He's got a few, but points league guy for sure. Will sit sometimes against lefties, but he's having a nice season with the bat for what he does. You made a point to just, you went out of your way here to diss on Nasim Nunez, who, I don't know, he's probably owned everywhere. So what's this about? You just needed to tell people that he's a total trap.
Yeah, I had somebody come to me this week and was like, hey, you use some stolen bases. I got this guy. And I'm like, don't fall for I got the guy with, at the time he was leading the league in stolen bases and then just got jumped. But this is not a guy you want. He is a one-trick pony. He does steal bases, yes, but he is terrible hitting the ball for average, obviously slugging. I think he has 2 extra base hits all season, so definitely something to avoid.
Yeah, he's hitting 194. He's got a 295 on base percentage, slugging 218, so a lower slugging than on base. Nasim Nunez, only thing to hang the hat on is a 13% walk rate, and that's kind of, you just want him to get on base a little bit for all these steals, but he's killing you everywhere else, so I kind of endorse that. But there's probably a lot of teams out there where he's the only reason they're competitive in steals every week, and that's tough to drop. But there's also the point that Nationals, he might just not be a real life value for them, and they might just stop. Like, how much good does a 513 OPS do you, no matter how many steals? So probably not much. But let's go to deep league hitters. Jake McCarthy for the Rockies, averaged some steals. A couple homers.
I was shocked at his Coors average being lower than his road average, because I thought for sure, Jake McCarthy's with the Rockies now must be doing really well in Coors, but shockingly pretty good everywhere. Was a guy with the Diamondbacks who a few years ago looked like he might be something, and in the last couple of years looked like he was going to be nothing. So he kind of settling somewhere in between. He's still going to get you stolen bases, and he'll hit for power when he's at Coors. So keep him in mind when he's at home.
Low K rate, a little bit of walks for McCarthy, 272 expected batting average, and that turns into some steals. Zach Geloff, I guess you talked about him last week, but I put him back on here. I think he's only playing now for Jacob Wilson's sake. But he
was starting at center field for a while, and then they had moved him into third base and to shortstop as they moved other people around. So obviously they brought off Bolte this week, who's getting some time at center field as well. So, but again, this is a guy we talked about 2023 with Duran. 2023, Zach Geloff was amazing. Looked like he was going to be something really big. 14 home runs and I think 20 stolen bases that first year as a rookie. It looked like he was going to be something, and then fell off a cliff, got banged up, and back healthy. I don't know if he's still that 2020 guy that maybe people thought he was, but he's playing well so far.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make the point that if we look at the minor league stuff, he's been in the minors a lot. 2025, he was in the minors for 200 plate appearances. He had a 25% K rate. This year in the minors, 54 plate appearances, wasn't a lot, but 13% K rate. So he really isn't striking out. He's walking more. So far in the majors, it's a 23% K rate, which he was in the mid-30s or worse in the majors when he was here before, at least over 2024 to 2025. So that's all really improved. And he's got 5 home runs in 27 games. So he's doing that. Power, speed, only 2 steals so far, but just something to look for there. Someone to keep an eye on maybe. Austin Martin, real quick here. Matt Wallner gets demoted. A little bit surprising. Austin Martin seems to be in the lineup every day there. All he does is sit there. He's got a good batter's eye. I got to give him credit. He's got like a 450 OBP or something right now because he's just not swinging. He just goes up there and waits and sees if 4 of the first 7 pitches will be balls, and then he'll walk to first, and he's happy with that. So OBP league guy there, but nothing really to get excited about. Zach Cole, he's someone I was targeting kind of in drafts, deep league drafts this offseason, and he's in the Astros lineup. Talk to us about Zach Cole since this was your guy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of last year, he looked pretty good. Had a big minor league season and then came up with Astros for the last month. Hit for some power, has speed. They are a disaster in the outfield. He can play center field, so he should have some time out there. And he'll get strong side platoon playing time. Again, a speed guy with good power. Should be good for another few weeks until the league catches up to him, which is what they did last year. In that month plus that he got there. The last 2 weeks he was not very good.
Yeah, red flag on this strikeout rate, which you put 41% K rate so far, but 2 homers in 9 games, and the skills are there. Probably will kind of fall apart, but homers and steals along the way. Sometimes that's a way to go. JP Crawford just playing a lot, 5 homers, kind of surprised me. Throw him in there.
Yeah, I traded for him in the offseason. I had a team that was really pretty vacant in the middle infield area. I knew he was going to start for the Mariners, at least this season. It's the last season of his contract with them. And is a guy, especially in OBP leagues, is sneaky good. Generally been about 350, somewhere between there and 375. So, and can get you, 10 to 12 home runs, nothing amazing, but this was a deeper league, and that made a lot of sense to get a guy like that that's going to play every day and be out there and get you some things.
Yeah, 350 OBP last year, 360 this year for Crawford, JP Crawford. Home run rate is a career high right now, 37 games in, 3.1% home runs. That's home run divided by plate appearance, by the way. Best he's ever done before that was 2023 with 3%. That turned into 19 homers. So that's kind of, the ceiling would seem to be 17, 18 homers, and you're probably not going to get there. But also hasn't stolen double-digit bases since, I don't even know if he's ever done it, but back to 2021 when I'm looking at it, he hasn't done it. So not really
Anybody did it back when he was a Phillies prospect, way back when.
Yeah, he was a big deal, wasn't he? He was a top prospect.
Yeah, he was a big trade when he got to Seattle, so it was very interesting.
I guess they'll take that. I mean, you'll take like 7 years of a solid starter. Like that's kind of a win. Not what you wanted, but
I mean, at shortstop, it's not so bad. I mean, he's a pretty decent fielder.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's a guy. I mean, if he got 15 home runs this season, I'd be amazed. But you see this all the time with guys that don't have any power, and all of a sudden somehow in the age 30, 31, 29, in that range there, all of a sudden they had that one big power year. So
yeah. And he's got a career high walk rate too, 17.5%. It's crazy high. So JP Crawford in on base percentage point leagues. Mason Wynn, also an everyday player with a defense, hitting 293 for his last 100 plate appearances, and K rate is down to low 20s, I think. Really not going to excite you, but if you need an everyday player, probably, I don't know. I guess it's Crawford for points leagues or OBP leagues, and maybe Wynn if you can get a few more homers and steals from him, maybe. So there's 2 options at shortstop if you're hurting, which is probably the last position anybody's hurting at. But I don't know. Henderson, Seager have been really bad. Trey Turner's been pretty bad.
Either one would be a good Jack Wilson replacement. That's for
sure. Yeah. Braden Shoemake. You're gonna have to tell me about this dude. I didn't see this coming.
Yeah. So this guy was a 2019 first round pick of the Braves. wasn't, your typical All-American college type player. Looked like he was going to be something. He had the hit tool, shockingly, was the thing that people were most excited about. Didn't have any power, but he had some speed. And then throughout his minor league career, the hit tool never came through. The power eventually has gotten here, and the speed has totally gone away. To the point that he was, signing minor league deals the last couple of years. He couldn't make it on the White Sox. He wasn't going to make it with the Yankees. The Astros lose Correa. They lose their backup shortstop as well. They had to find somebody just to get out there. They pick him up. They put him call him up on the 20th, and he's shockingly WRC plus. He's the 20th best guy in Major League Baseball now. So this is not going to last, but it's been an interesting ride for sure.
That's fun. I didn't even know they lost Correa. You can't stop paying attention to baseball stuff for a day, and you just miss a bunch of stuff. I wish I could just pick. What would be awesome is if we could run MLB Data Warehouse with 6 different guys that do the same kind of thing as me, and we could all just pick one division to just
there you
go hardcore. But then I'd have to split the money with 5 other people. I'm probably not going to do that. There's too many teams, man. One more, probably even worse idea than Braden Shoemake here. Gage Workman, I don't know, hit a homer yesterday. 26-year-old Tigers guy got called up. I don't think he's really in the plans to be a starter every day. Not even sure why he started yesterday.
People were going crazy about him last spring training. I think he was maybe a Rule 5 guy, and maybe he was sitting on the Cubs, and they were looking possibly starting him at third base, and people were picking him up left and right, and then boom, dropped him, went back to the Tigers, and here he is.
And so I don't think anybody got hurt, and I don't know why. Maybe it was just a spot start for him yesterday, but worth saying, he's 20, maybe he's 27. I think he's 26. He'll turn 27 soon. Not young, but not like a 32-year-old journeyman or anything like that. In the minors this year, had a 1.003 OPS. He hit 358, on base percentage 413, slugged 590 with 4 homers, 12 steals for Workman, 35 games. So that's 16 homers plus steals in 35 games. That's pretty great. So made enough waves to get called up to the majors. And 11 plate appearances in, he's got 2 homers. So Tigers could use some bats. Not sure where he plays again, but keep an eye on that. See where the lineups look like this weekend, and maybe you can grab a couple homers from him as we go forward in your 20-team leagues or whatever this is.
Yes.
Is he owned in the MLB Data Warehouse 30-team league? That's probably a stupid question. I haven't been able to find it. Everybody I've ever looked at is obviously they're owned as a 30-team league.
Yes, it's a little rough in our 30-team league to find anybody.
It's terrible.
You're just looking for that pulse.
He's available. Oh my goodness. I found him.
There we go. Can't wait for the bidding process on that one.
I'm going to get him. I'm going to spend it all. All right. I'm just excited. It's the first guy I've actually seen be available that's in the major league. So, all right. That'll do it. Week 8 waivers. It'll be written up on MLBDataWarehouse.com. It's if I get the screen going, whatever. Oh, everything's messed up. Forget it. Jon and John waivers. We'll talk to you next week. Peace out.
Yeah, we bring the spree. Prospects, DFS, betting strategy. John's grumpy, Tim scouted like a man possessed. Doc drafting comeback stories better than the rest. But the tools are elite and the content's free. And your fantasy trophy gonna look prestigious.